You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cricket Podcast. We're previewing IPL 2022. We're doing Group B. We're talking about Punjab Kings. Dan Weston's Punjab Kings, as we'll call it. The artist formerly known as the Punjab Kings of Comedy. They're probably going to be the Kings of Cricket now. That's what Dan Weston does. He comes in, he takes over, he makes a team good. Before we talk about how they're going to be good, why they're going to be good, and so on, go to the show notes. There's two things you need to click in the show notes. A link to seriouscricket.co.uk, where you can use the code TCP22 for 10% off your cricket gear. It is the 21st of March. It's going to be 18 degrees tomorrow. It's time you got your gear sorted for the cricket season. Outdoor nets are starting. You need spikes and a helmet and new pads because they've rotted because you didn't take them out of the bag last year. You need gloves, and most of all, you need a bat. So buy all those things and get 10% off on us, TCP22. And Patreon, you can click the link there and see the things. You can read the things. We've been over this before, but go click the link. Ross, Punjab Kings.
Yeah, before we do, I got told an interesting thing around cricket pads. And actually, because I was wondering, how do you actually clean them? Like the inside bit, because it's grotty. It's grotty.
Yeah.
Apparently, baking soda and hot water.
That's how you clean everything. Right? That's every tip about cleaning anything always involves baking soda, doesn't it?
Well, there you go. If you're worried about it, baking soda on your pads. Anyway,
don't buy a new set of pads, you idiot. You've told
oh
people.
yeah, sorry.
There's no way of cleaning your pads once you've got those horrible sweat stains. That's it. They're done.
Yeah.
In the bin, new ones.
TCP22.
We play with a guy called Liam who has got the same
good
box.
or bad?
Bad, Liam. He's got the same box he's had since he was 11 years old, and he is now 32.
Still too big for him.
Very good. Anyway, treat yourself. Anyway, Punjab Kings, Dan Weston's boys. Coach is Anil Kumble. Captain is Mayank Agarwal. The kit review is red with a gold trim. It kind of reminds me of watching a Roman Empire show. I think that's the kind of look they've kind of gone for. Tried to go a little bit regal, tried to go a little bit Roman Empire.
Well, they are the Kings.
Yeah,
like Time Commanders.
Yeah, it's exactly.
What's your favourite Roman Empire show?
Oh, I don't really have one, if I'm perfectly honest.
Okay.
No.
Max, do you want to chip in there?
What was the one? Was it Time? Was it not a Roman Empire show, but Time Team was good, wasn't it? With Tony Robinson,
Terry Robinson. Yeah.
When they went and did some digging and stuff.
Yeah, this is really accessible content for the thousands of people listening from India.
The HBO series Rome is the one to watch.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll catch that. Random fact, Punjab is the land of 5 rivers, and these rivers have blessed Punjab with fertile grounds. 84% of the land is under cultivation. So if you're into your agriculture or you're a gardener or anything like that, Punjab is for you. Top players, Kagiso Rabada. Purple Cap winner 2 years ago. Jack is always saying he's probably in the top 1 when it comes to pace bowlers, or definitely near the top 3
in Test cricket.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in this one.
T20s.
They've got Agarwal and Darwan as their opening duo, who are, Agarwal's been brilliant. The last couple of seasons, strike rate's decent. He averages over 40. He's been the perfect. He was trying to put the Punjab Kings up into being consistent and being competitive whilst KL Rahul was dragging them down. And Darwan did pretty well for Delhi. He's kind of slowed down a little bit, but he's a trusted hand. And if the other pieces of the IPL are to go by, he should have a decent IPL. Couple of centuries in there to his name. Then we get to the explosiveness in this side. Johnny Bairstow and Liam Livingston, who are exceptional white ball talents. It's fair to say that Livy was mismanaged at Rajasthan Royals. He's got a point to prove this year, I think, fellas. And I think that can only be a cricketer like that having a bit between their teeth. I think is a good thing. I think he's going to have a Glenn Maxwell year. Do you reckon that's on the cards?
It all depends on whether he's got Ryan Parag's bat or not.
Good point. That's the yeah, I like Max. I like Maxwell. I like Livingston as well. I think people don't believe the hype yet with Livingston, do they? Because he
No.
wasn't so good in the IPL last year, and he did blow up the entire World Cup. Some people haven't really bought into it. I think they may be slightly overpaid, but he does do things that other people don't do.
Yeah.
He will be available for the whole tournament, and I think he is pretty good. So if they've overpaid, not overpaid
his
by much.
bowling is so much more useful than he gets credit for.
Yeah, but Rajasthan Royals thought he wasn't as good as Glenn Phillips.
Which was insane. No, it's just completely insane.
Bowls off spin and leg spin reasonably well, and can bowl at any point in the game. So that's useful. I think strengths, they've got a good balance of domestic and overseas. I think they've prioritized their overseas areas where there's not much, or there's not a dearth of domestic talent, which is exactly what you should be doing. There's kind of clearly a strategy there. So if Dan Weston has listened to this, we think you've done a really good job. And it's full of intent machines, I think. Of
course it is.
Like if you look down the lineup, like Agarwal's got a good boundary percentage, Bairstow's is good, Livingston's is good, Sharrett Khan's is good. We saw O'Dean Smith smash England around in January, and even Rabada kind of probably batting around 8 is a useful kind of guy to try and hit you some boundaries and get those very important 15 off 5 balls or whatever we like to see. I think their playing 11 is Shikhar Dhawan, Agarwal 2, Bairstow 3. Jitish Sharma potentially at 4, or Raj Bauer. I couldn't quite figure out when I was looking through the side of who they're going to play in that number 4 role. Might be someone comes in at 3 and Johnny Bairstow splits in there. Liam Livingston at 5, Sharrett Khan at 6, O'Dean Smith at 7, Rabada 8, Arshdeep Singh at 9. I think Sandeep Sharma will get a go. He's in at 10, and then Rahul Chahar in there. Do you reckon that sounds about right?
I think it could be. I think there's a lot of hype around Raj Bauer, isn't there? We'll probably not saying that wrong, so we'll just have to live with that until someone corrects us. Lots of hype around him. Had a good under-19s World Cup. He is just 19, born in 2002. That's always sad, isn't it? When happens. So much hype, in fact, that people independently messaged the Cricket Podcast Twitter account to tell us, to say how good he was. So there we go. We've got that in, haven't we?
We have indeed.
I don't know. I always think with the people who are really young that I want to see a bit more before I completely buy into the hype. But on the other side of that, nobody has ever messaged us about anyone else. So
this is true.
Any other 19-year-olds. That's a lot of things about Kohli. But.
There's a bit here around. Could they be playing an all-rounder spinner in round 8, such as Harpreet Bar or Ishan Perel, who we know Dan has a bit of a fair.
Ishan Perel.
Bairstow, I think, misses the first couple of games as well due to his England exploits. So that means that they will have to play a wicketkeeper. So Jitish Sharma likely to play in kind of his place. But I like the lineup here. I think this has got real potential to be really exciting. And so we'll hopefully get to see some pretty big fireworks on this team. I think in terms of kind of where it's weak, spin-wise, I think Chahar's useful, Livingston's really useful. So I think that's okay. Pace bowling, I think Arshdeep Singh proved that he's very useful as a left-hander. Rabada and O'Dean Smith offering that pace, and then Sandeep Sharma almost doing the Harshal Patel kind of role, Deepak Chahar role, kind of the medium paces. So I'm looking at this team and not seeing too many weaknesses. The depth might be a bit of a problem, but I think it looks good.
I think there's maybe a depth issue. And the thing that I thought after the IPL auction was that I'm not absolutely sold on their middle order. Not absolutely sold on that. You never know. I mean, Sharrett Khan.
It could go off, or it could completely implode.
Yeah, I think that's sort of where I fall. I'm not sure how deep they bat either. So the combination of a potentially iffy middle order with a potentially bad lower order could cause some problems. Now, if that doesn't turn out to be the case, maybe Raj Bauer's amazing. Maybe Sharrett Khan is hitting 6s off the last ball of every game. Then they won't need to worry, will they?
Yeah,
and the other thing I'd say, and I think this actually probably will be a weakness, is that I don't know if they'll be very good in the power play with the ball. I don't actually see who they're going to be turning to for wickets up front. We know Rabada doesn't take them. I always think of Arshdeep Singh as more of a death guy kind of guy, though.
Yeah, I think it'll be Sandeep Sharma. I think he did okay for Sunrisers when he was kind of trusted in that role. So I think it could be okay. But yeah, it's going to take a little bit of working out. But I think this team has, yes, the ability to implode, no doubt about it. But I also think they're going to blow some teams away that they probably shouldn't, or get themselves out of trouble when they probably couldn't have. It's almost like, I just think it's going to be a fun team to follow. And I don't worry too much about their lower middle order when their top order is actually pretty good in terms of some of those players they have in that lineup.
I mean, for sure, but I think you want to see it all fit together, don't you? And I don't know whether it quite does as well as the immediate wave of optimism that people had after the auction. I think they went from so bad last year and doing like idiot things last year to retaining, what was it, like 2 players?
Yeah, if Bishnoi was in this side, you'd be going, oh, hang on a minute, we've got a decent
so retaining 2 players, neither of which, let's be fair, are exactly A-listers. And as good as Agarwal is, and Agarwal is really good, like he should be an A-lister, but people don't think of him as an A-lister. So people weren't wowed by that. And then they finish with Bairstow and Livingston and Rabada, and you're like, oh wow, that is really good. And then you look at how good Rabada is actually at bowling in T20 cricket, and you're like, is this the best? Is he that good? I mean, like, what does he bring? I mean,
he's good at taking
bowler,
wickets, isn't he? But he's a bit expensive doing so.
But he tends to be. The problem is for Rabada is that he tends to take those wickets in the last 5 overs of the game, and he tends to be quite expensive at that point as well. Yeah. So it's better than taking no wickets and being expensive and basically being Chris Jordan. But it's not really. I think you want a 2-2 bowler, don't you? You want somebody that's a threat in the power play and a threat at the death. And Rabada isn't that really at the current iteration of Rabada. He should be. Maybe he will be. Maybe they think they know what can make him that. But for a number of years, we've just not seen Rabada be a serious power play threat. So they'll need to solve that. I think. It's not.
I think they're a really interesting side.
As we said with Mumbai Indians,
what they've got.
As we said with Mumbai Indians, it's not the worst problem to have because teams tend not to attack the power play. So I'm not saying here that they're going to be other teams will be 60 for naught every match. Probably there'll just be a lot of 42 for naught or 40 for naught situations where they'd like to wicket and they've got a tough middle overs to get through.
Fair. Well, I think this team is set up to challenge for the playoffs. I think they've got a shot. I think
I'd agree with that. I just people were saying they were the favourites after the auction, and I think we've talked about quite a few teams now.
Now the dust has settled.
I think you have to adjust the optimism down slightly on that front.
Which might be no bad thing, right? It might be one of those things where actually a little bit of pressure comes off.
They're better than last year, and they've got 2 or 3 really, really, really good players. I mean, Agarwal, Bairstow, and Livingston. That is actually awesome. That is an awesome 2, 3, and 4. And we're just ignoring Darwan there. That's a really, 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 really good top 4 you've got. I think the drop off is quite significant after that. But that is maybe they kill people. Maybe they just kill people early.
Yeah, and that's what I think. Yeah, Sharad Khan, Dean Smith, they're going to be intent machines, and that's what they're going to do, right? So we shall see. Let's wrap up.
Look again. Just final thing to say on that. We've not seen it at this level of cricket. Mm-hmm. We just haven't seen it. So I don't know if we can be saying, "Oh yeah, that makes loads of sense," because Sharad Khan hasn't been a very good IPL player in his life so far.
Yeah, and that's what we're saying, right? In terms of Sharad Khan, could be exciting. And that's what Max is saying. It could be a lottery team that kind of comes out and they fucking win it all. But definitely playoff contenders. It's going to be an exciting team to follow. And then that wraps up the Punjab Kings.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.